As we look at public affairs at Edelman and look at it from a global perspective, we see it growing in a number of different ways. The emerging markets by far are great opportunities for us. We are putting great emphasis into places like Asia and Latin America, particularly in Brazil and Beijing, and using those as sort of jumping off points for the other parts of the region. So I think that's one thing in the geography. The other thing that we are doing is we're exporting a degree of American-style public affairs. And I have to be careful in saying that because we don't want to be Americanizing it too much. We really do take into account the culture, the language, and the politics of the specific region. But digital, for example, use of social media in public affairs had its genesis here for Edelman in the U.S., particularly in D.C., and it's grown significantly. And we're now seeing that picked up in places in Europe, Latin America, and Asia. So I think we're going to see greater use of social media by far. The other thing is the use of what we would call grassroots in the U.S., but in other countries they would call it advocacy, and where you're getting like-minded people together to support a particular issue on the regulatory or legislative front. So that's a big growth area for us as well, and that combines the use of digital. And I think the third area is expansion into truly emerging markets, places in Africa, Southeast Asia, where we're approaching that by setting up hubs where we have dedicated teams who can ensure that the strategy and the quality is kept in place and driving it from places like Brussels and Washington and Brazil and Beijing. So I think these are the areas where we're going to be putting our greatest emphasis and the kind of tools that we're going to be using in those markets.